I remember the date that I first developed the symptoms because it was a couple of months after the atom bomb was dropped. Late 1946. Diagnosis, diabetes. We had to use reusable syringes and needles, which we sterilized in boiling water. After it cooled off, we'd assemble it, and the needles would get dull, and we had to sharpen the needles. We had a pumice stone, and you'd rub the needle on the pumice stone and get rid of the hooks. You didn't know what your blood sugar level was. Most of the time, it was either very low or very high. And my low blood sugars were a constant problem for the family. And it happened that I was working for a company that made clinical laboratory equipment. And I saw an ad for a 3-pound device that could be used in emergency rooms to distinguish unconscious drunks from unconscious diabetics by the blood sugars. I said, if I knew my blood sugars, I'm an engineer, if I knew my blood sugars, I could do something about them. So I ordered a meter and started measuring my blood sugars. In the early days, I had a very creative lunch. Peanut butter, mayo, and tuna on date nut bread. I found that the highest blood sugars were after lunch. So I said, well, if lunch is the biggest culprit, it must be because of the carbohydrate. So I'm going to eliminate the bread and eliminate the peanut butter, and I'll just have the tuna fish and mayo and a salad. Whammo. The amount of insulin I took for lunch dropped dramatically, and the blood sugars after lunch became predictable. I decided at that point that I had to get this information out and that the doctors would bend over backwards. So the first thing I did was approach my own doctor, who was president of the American Diabetes Association. And he said, people come to me once a month for a blood sugar. If they could measure it themselves, I'd have no patients. No one would come to see me. I wrote it was like a cookbook, step by step. What do you do to have normal blood sugars if you're a type 1 diabetic? I submitted it to many medical journals, and they were all rejected. So I decided I would go to medical school to get an MD after my name and therefore be able to get published. I was diagnosed at age 12, and life expectancy for type 1 diabetic was 30 years. And I'm 86 right now.